Okay, good morning, everyone. This is Ilke Toygür, cast fellow at the SWP Berlin. Today we are here for a very interesting topic that we will have two great speakers for this very interesting debate. This event is organized by the European Council on Foreign Relations in cooperation with work SWP Berlin. And we interesting and not just interesting and very tight debate, because we have just witnessed the establishment of the new tasks that is waiting or expecting the new German government is the question on how to deal with Turkey. Actually, we know that Angela Merkel had a very personal relationship with Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan, and her approach was, even if acknowledging the differences between Turkey and the European Union on human rights, on foreign policy issues, Cyprus more recently, and all the tensions in the Eastern Mediterranean, she encouraged all the time dialogue, and she called it constructive dialogue in this case. There were heated debates in the European Council because Germany, together with Spain and Italy, argued in favor of constructive dialogue and the positive agenda, while France, Cyprus and Greece and some others, they were just like encouraging the European Union to be more tough on Turkey. So this is the big picture, but now we have Olaf Scholz in the European Council to represent Germany, and we have a new green foreign minister in Federal Foreign Office in Germany, Annalena Baerbock, and we are very much wondering what will be the impact of all these new people on German foreign policy in general and Germany's attitude towards Turkey in particular. To discuss this, but before discussing that, I should definitely introduce the poll we will have, but I should tell you the exact motion we will be talking about. So we have the sentence, this motion: Germany should ditch constructive dialogue with Turkey, which will be defended very passionately by Kristian Brakel. And then we have Germany should not ditch constructive dialogue with Turkey, which will be, again, very, very passionately discussed, even if there are more nuances in that case, by Nilgün Arısan. But before I introduce our speakers to you, I think we will use a poll to test the feeling in the room. But even before that, I would like to show you one data point that the ECFR has, and it is the starting point of actually our collaboration between the ECFR and KEDS. Here, let me just share my screen if we can manage to do so. After 2 years of Zoom, we're still struggling with this kind of stuff, but here it is. I think you can see it. In this poll, the ECFR asked the Europeans their views on Turkey, and Turkey was seen as an adversary in half of the countries polled. What you can see here is that the dark blue is the percentages. We don't even see numbers, because this is very striking. We don't even see numbers on the people that perceive Turkey as an ally. That's the dark blue in that case. But the people, the polls, the people that has participated in this and answered Turkey is an adversary, starting with Austria, going down to Poland, has been rather high. So in Austria, every 1 out of 2 people that has been polled for this poll defined Turkey as an adversary. This is a striking situation when we think about Turkey's involvement in Western institutions, its aspiration for EU membership, and how not to mention its NATO membership. The situation is quite significant. So I will repeat the motion once again so we can run the poll for our participants in this debate. Germany should ditch constructive dialogue with Turkey. Germany should not ditch constructive dialogue with Turkey. So I think we are ready to run the poll. I don't know if my colleagues from ECFR, yes, Perfect. Now you can answer the question: are you for or against the motion? German-Turkish relations, should we ditch constructive dialogue? Here you have the poll on the screen. Okay, I will give this 1 more minute so that we can make sure everyone on the call could vote. Let's see. Okay, I think I will close this on my screen and introduce you our two very great speakers, both from Turkey, based in Turkey, not from Turkey, Kristian, but half Turkish in that case as well, based in Turkey. We have Nilgün Arısan Eralp as the director at the Center for EU Studies of the Economic Policy Research Foundation of Turkey, TEPAV. I think for me, she's one of the most veteran people, if not the most veteran person when it comes to EU-Turkey relations, and who has guided many of us throughout careers. So it's great to have you here with us, Nilgün, today. Good morning. Thank you. Good morning. And we have Kristian Brakel, director of Heinrich Böll Foundation Istanbul, who has been following Turkish politics on the ground for years now for a German eye, who is also a political analyst and who has been contributing to the debate both between Turkey and Germany and Turkey and the EU. Good morning, Kristian. It's great to have you with us today. I hope you can see our poll results, because what I see here in my screen right now, that's 17% of the participants agree with this motion, saying that Germany should ditch constructive dialogue with Turkey, and 70% disagree. Nilgün, we are starting quite powerful today in this debate.
Sorry.
Saying that Germany and maybe the EU should not necessarily ditch constructive dialogue with Turkey. Now I will give the floor to our panelists. They have only 5 minutes, and then I will be quite sharp on the time. Maybe we can start with Kristian in this case, and since that he has not so many supporters on this virtual room, maybe he can do his best to convince participants. Kristian, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll do my best. I only can assume either the audience is full of Germans and Turks who both prefer dialogue in foreign policy traditionally, or it's also because the majority of you are all like people working on Turkey, and of course most of us know how important Turkey is, not only for the EU but for Germany as such. Undoubtedly, this relationship has a high strategic significance for Germany and for the EU. However, I think in the current form, it can be argued that it's very doubtful that EU and German interests are really served best in the best way they could. Let's look at the interests that Germany primarily has. That is securing EU borders, conserving strong economic ties, no problems at home, and strengthening the common EU foreign policy and security policies. So let us take a look at how the current dialogue serves all these points. A, border protection. I think we've all seen that the current agreement that we have with the EU-Turkey agreement, or like now with this successor, is not a sustainable agreement in the long run for many different reasons. And I think for reason number one, because Turkey, especially in the current economic situation, just lacks the financial means to maintain this situation forever. B, also, of course, due to human rights concerns, I also think that this agreement has serious flaws. But, and I think looking back at how German interests are served here, if we just leave all the human rights situation aside. If we look to last year, February, March, I think we saw which pitfalls might await EU and German decision makers if they still bank on the Turkish government holding up their part of the deal. It means that we will always be hostage to a more and more anti-immigrant sentiment within Turkey that the current Turkish government, if it wants to stay in power, has to react to. So it's not a very stable agreement. And B, I would also argue that on the other side, we have seen that there are certain limits to the pressure that President Erdogan actually can have with, like, as he said, unleashing refugees and migrants on the European border. Yes, it were very ugly pictures that we had to face on the Greek border. Yes, I think it was a sham. It was was very ugly. What was done to these poor people. But in the end, the EU more or less prevailed. The Greek border held, and I mean, there was no massive inflow of either refugee or migrants into the EU. So if you look from a purely strategic point, I think the possibilities that Turkey has with this agreement are very limited, but on the other hand, it's not very reliable. If we look at the economic situation, I mean, we all know that Turkey currently is in a currency crisis, while many German companies are still maintaining very strong relations with Turkey. There are serious problems, especially when it comes to foreign direct investments. Turkey becomes less and less attractive, less and less reliable. And there are also serious complaints by business people about non-compliance of Turkey with the even existing rules of the customs union. If we look at the domestic situation, we know that the Turkish intelligence still maintains a very heavy presence in Germany and seemingly is using it against Turkish opposition diaspora that has found refuge in Germany, using vigilante groups to attack people who have found refuge in Germany. And there is ever looming this threat of the Turkish president to militarize, use this diaspora to get its will in bilateral or multilateral relations, which again,
1 minute, please, Kristian.
Which again is not very reliable. Last point. Yes, we all know Turkey is a valuable ally when it comes to NATO's southern flank, and an ally that's very, very hard to replace. But we also know that Turkey has become more and more dependent on Russia. Its possibility to act independently has been hemmed in decisively, and it has degraded its value for NATO and for EU common foreign and security policy decisively. Plus, its brinkmanship in its neighborhood, both in Nagorno-Karabakh, but especially in the southern Mediterranean, shows again that there is very little that can be said about reliability of Turkey as an ally. So again, yes, this relationship is very worth preserving, but what do we really get out of it? And I've not even started to speak about the domestic situation in Turkey, which influences a lot of things, from the migrant crisis to foreign policy, which is really highly personalized. So the reliability of Turkey as an ally, I think, is really at an all-time low. And a lot of things that the EU, that Germany is really interested in, is something that this Turkish government is not willing to deliver, as the president recently said on the decision of the EU, of the Council of Europe, on infringement proceedings regarding the case of Osman Kavala. The Europeans do what the Europeans do. We do what we do. This is like I've always done. This is how we will continue to do it. Nobody needs such an ally, at least not in a way that we currently have. What we need is a relationship where it's clear that the EU, that Germany really gets something more productive out of it. Nothing speaks against dialogue, but there must be clear benchmarks, and there must be a clear expectation that both partners live up to these benchmarks. Currently, only one of them is.
Okay, thank you very much. You have touched upon important points, starting with the migration, the situation of Syrian refugees in Turkey, going with the economic crisis and Turkey's choices when it comes to its foreign policy, and also touched upon the important process Turkey has with Council of Europe, which has decided to start infringement proceedings against Turkey for not implementing ECHR rules. Before giving the floor to Nilgün, just one remark: the participants that would like to ask questions, please use the Q&A function, so you can type your questions. And once we have the initial statements of Nilgün, we will immediately turn the floor to the participants. So I would encourage you to start typing your questions in the Q&A function. Thank you very much. Nilgün, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Ilke. First of all, I think I'm against the word ditching the constructive dialogue between Germany and Turkey. If this dialogue is ditched, then the backsliding in democracy, rule of law, and human rights in Turkey, and Turkey's alienation from the West would worsen, I suppose. I think I would like also to remind you, Turkish population of Turkey is not wholly represented by the current government, as we have concretely witnessed in the 2 years ago in the local elections, and now the opposition strengthens itself, and also despite all the pressures, still we have a semi-lively civil society in Turkey. Although I'm against the word ditch, I would like to use the word, the motto of the current coalition government in Germany: continuity and change. Continuity should be the dialogue with Turkey should continue. There are important relations between the parties. Kristian explained that Turkey is an economic partner. There are 3 million Turks living in Germany, or Germans originated from Turkey. They live in Germany. There is this migration as a very important challenge of the current coalition government, as was the previous government. But I think the style has to change. Merkel's style was appeasement, and in the words of the economist, it was kind of coddling. Germany should engage with Turkey, and also the relationships, this dialogue shouldn't be personal like the relationship between Merkel and Erdogan. The democratic minded people in Turkey will never forget, just before the migration deal, how Merkel convinced the European Commission to postpone the publishment of the progress report until after the elections, and how she came and posed with Erdogan before the elections, very crucial elections. I'm talking about 2015. Let me go topic by topic, if you like. Migration. Turkey wants to renew the migration deal as a package. So I don't think a deal, some call the migration statement between the parties of 2016 as a dirty deal in Turkey, because the understanding is that Europe or Germany turned a blind eye on what's going on in Turkey, provided that Turkey would keep the migrants or irregular migrants at its territory. This should change. Of course, Turkey needs the assistance, the help to come from Germany. Unlike, I heard the Annalena Baerbock the other day that the financial assistance Turkey should be cut. No, it shouldn't be cut. This financial assistance should be directed, a bulk of it should be directed to migrants in Turkey, but not through the Turkish government. EU delegation in Ankara should work hand in hand with the very functional, efficient civil society institutions working to better the life of the migrants. And no empty promises should be given to Turkey like it was done in 2016. Revitalization of the accession process. It's important. It is impossible given the state of democracy, rule of law, human rights in Turkey, or visa liberalization. When I checked the coalition agreement between the parties forming the coalition, I saw no reference to visa liberalization and customs union modernization. The visa liberalization cannot be materialized because Turkey hasn't fulfilled the conditions of it. There can be cooperation to help Turkey to fulfill these conditions if there is political will. With migrants, I shared my view. The customs union modernization, I could never understand why Germany blocked the initiation of negotiations to modernize the customs union, because that could have been a very good litmus test for Erdogan's political will to reform or not to reform, because customs union modernization would necessitate an independent dispute settlement mechanism, a transparent public procurement system in Turkey, a transparent state aid system. Unfortunately, this opportunity has been lost by not initiating the negotiations. Conditions could have been put anywhere during the negotiations. And also
one minute, please, Nilgün. Thank you.
My last sentence would be engagement. With whom Germany should engage more and more with civil society organizations in Turkey, and Germany should support the continuation of the exchange programs like Erasmus. These are crucial, and Germany should not, by ditching the constructive dialogue, Germany could easily omit the possibility of a change in Turkey. There is a increasing possibility of a change in Turkey after 2020. And I think this engagement also would prepare Germany to get itself prepared for a post-2023 Turkey, and engaging with civil society, with youngsters, with business sectors is crucial. So cutting dialogue would be very unproductive. I would cut here.
Thank you very much, Nilgün, for these initial statements and concrete ideas for German decision makers, in addition to the ones from the EU. Actually, I would like to ask a question to both of you from that dimension. Now we see there's a green foreign minister in Germany. We are seeing declarations and from many people, both in Germany and Turkey, hoping that Annalena will step up the tone on democracy, rule of law, basic rights and freedoms in Turkey. But we have seen heated discussions in the European Council, mainly when the focus was decreasing the tensions in the Eastern Mediterranean. So I'm wondering what kind of role Olaf Scholz will play in the European Council for defining a common approach for Turkey, what kind of role Annalena Baerbock will play in the Council on Foreign Affairs when it comes to debating and discussing with the colleagues. Very shortly, so we can take more questions. Let's start with you, Kristian. Thank you.
Of course, I have two opinions on that, one as a green and one as an analyst. I'd rather give you the second one. Yes, I mean, I think what we've seen so far in the coalition agreement is only half promising. And you clearly see there that the three parties did a balancing act. The Greens clearly want a stronger language on Turkey, and in general also want a different course on Turkey. And like I'm also feeling that what Nilgün mentioned is not that far away from what I want. I think just like the current strategic dialogue that we are having, that it's basically fulfilling what the Turkish government wants, making its domestic policies a no-go area for the EU, and just maintaining relationships where it serves the government. And especially as what you said, like coming to that part of the population that is very unhappy with what's currently happening in Turkey, coming to the civil society, which I think I know a lot about because like HBS is at the forefront of, as one of the German organizations working with civil society here. This is generally that what the Greens want, what Olaf Scholz wants, I think, is more or less a continuation of like not so many problems with Turkey as before. And what the liberals want is like a much stronger course, but a much stronger course that is really cutting the accession process and being like very heavy-handed on Turkey. And I think the Greens are in the middle and hoping for a more moderating approach, meaning, yes, engagement with Turkey because Turkey is an important ally, but also putting some weight behind what the EU normally just formulates as being very, very concerned about human rights and the rule of law. I think the last point I, however, have to make, I think we can also see that, and that I say as an analyst, my concern is a bit, neither Annalena Baerbock nor her vice minister, state minister Anna Lührmann, who will be dealing with Turkey, have worked on Turkey before. And what we've seen from Annalena's remarks so far, I think her biggest concern, rightfully, currently is Russia and then China. And so we have to see how the situation develops. I think in the moment, everybody is hoping a bit like, okay, let's see what happens in the election 2023. And maybe we can get through these 1.5 years without any major problems.
Thank you, Kristian, also for underlining the differences between the traffic light coalition partners. Nilgün, the floor is yours.
Thank you. First of all, I would like to share my view that Greens in the government has the most principled approach to Turkey. They are not against the membership of Turkey because of identity, because of cultural differences, but of course they want Turkey to fulfill the membership conditions, most of all the political criteria. This is a very principled approach, I think. I will say EU in general, different countries have different approaches, but make a mistake. They omit a very important factor by prioritizing the stability in the Eastern Mediterranean to the state of democracy, rule of law, and fundamental freedoms in Turkey. At this point, I would like to quote Sinem Adar. In a paper she wrote, she said that it is unclear whether an authoritarian but stable Turkey would cooperate harmoniously with the EU and refrain from violating its multilateral commitments. They are interlinked. So in the council meetings, I think Olaf Scholz should both question the unilateral assertive policy, if of course Turkey continues to do so in the Eastern Mediterranean, and of course also should question the authoritarian nature of the state. And Greens should have a special problem regarding in Turkey. Still, although the Green Party has applied to be recognized some 2 years ago to the Ministry of Interior, its application still hasn't been approved. Maybe Annalena Baerbock should start with this. And I think Greens have another positive approach to the problem solving in Turkey. They emphasize cooperation, more cooperation with Council of Europe regarding human rights and democracy in Turkey. This is crucial because Turkey is a member in Council of Europe, and Turkey is violating some of the agreements it's signed within the auspices of the Council of Europe. And Germany should cooperate more and more with Council of Europe regarding its policy to Turkey in political area. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Sorry, can I just one question, because I didn't get that correctly. What are you saying? Which application is still pending at the Ministry of Interior?
Kristian, Green Party formed itself and applied to be officially recognized.
Okay.
After this clarification, we have now a couple of questions in the Q&A. I would like to ask the first one from my colleague Sinem Adar. a bit changing it so it can fit to our motion. To Nilgün, what would be the direction and best and worst case scenarios that would come out from not ditching constructive dialogue with Turkey? And to Kristian, maybe like a bit changing the other half of the question, what should replace, if we ditch constructive dialogue, what should we replace it with? And just prolonging this to Thomas Seibert's question, if the panelists kind of agree on things should change between Germany and Turkey, if this is after the end of Merkel era, I think there's a great consensus on this regard. Do you think that the EU strategy of offering a positive agenda to Ankara should also be scrapped? So what is the connection between Germany's agenda towards Turkey and the European agenda and the offer of a positive agenda to Turkey? Let's start with Nilgün this time. So what if we don't ditch the constructive dialogue? What are the best and worst scenarios, and what should we do? And Kristian, then the floor will be yours. And please connect this to the positive agenda of the European Union to Ankara as well. Thank you.
Best scenario would be the increase in the resilience of the civil society in Turkey if constructive dialogue is not broken. And also, how shall I say, the civil society and democratic-minded people at the moment feel that they are being left aside by Europe. By continuing this constructive dialogue, but altering it from personal to institutional, from appeasement to engagement, the opposition and civil society in Turkey would feel stronger vis-a-vis the oppression they are facing now in Turkey. Worst scenario, I don't think this can happen, but the government, the current administration in Turkey can use it for, we are such a strong government that even the new coalition government in Germany, whose discourse is more against democracy, human rights and rule of law, even they felt the need to support us. So being more critical on the democracy, human rights and rule of law, and more cooperation with Council of Europe on this would alleviate the so-called weapon, will take away this weapon from the hand of the government.
And
second question.
Yes.
Second question. I don't think positive agenda should be ditched. Anyway, if you look at the positive agenda in the moment, there are three concrete issues there. Migration, environment. I think more and more cooperation is needed on environment to make Turkey a part of green transformation, provided that Turkey prepares national program for it, of course. And also cooperation on counter-terrorism. Apart from that, I mean, customs union modernization is pushed aside. Apart from the political criteria, there are now technical criteria that Turkey cannot fulfill, like opening its ports and airports to Cyprus Republic. Visa liberalization, I just said that Turkey didn't fulfill the conditions, so visa liberalization is not on the agenda. So anyway, the scope of it is not that big, so it shouldn't be ditched. That's my, the positive agenda shouldn't be ditched.
Thank you very much. So we are against ditching anything that involves constructive, positive dialogue, but I really liked your statement on it should be rather transferred, altered from appeasement to engagement and from personal to institutional. And I think that was a very good summary of your points. Kristian, the floor is yours.
My feeling is a bit that our positions are not very far away from each other, but I think like maybe we have a different understanding what like a constructive dialogue entails. I think we are both clear that we don't want the relationship to continue as it is, because this is not like producing very good results. And for me, that is when I speak about like ditching this current model. I think we can agree on that. So the question is how the future relationship should be created or should look like. And what you said, yes, we have this EU positive agenda, and no one is, not even me, I'm not against the positive agenda. I'm very much,
of course.
I mean, I'm very much in favor also of a very strong EU Turkey, a strong German-Turkey relationship, even a stronger one. But given that the current Turkish government is moving in a completely opposite direction, we have to ask ourselves, which instruments can we utilize to change this? So I think there should be a positive agenda, but there should be clear benchmarks. And the message to the Turkish government must be, we are very open. We are very open to like almost everything possible that we have in our toolbox to cooperate with you if certain conditions are met. But if you're moving into a different direction, we will do other things. And the other things that we will do are X, Y, Z. And I think we have been totally lacking on this point so far. And that is why I think the mindset in Ankara that currently prevails, and from what I've heard from the palace, is a bit, yeah, the EU, what can the EU do? I mean, if we, I don't know, decide before the next elections that we need to shore up like national sentiment a bit, maybe we annex Northern Cyprus. What will the EU do? Being very concerned. And I mean, it's not wrong to think like that, because I think we can all agree, maybe not on the current course of the Turkish government, but we can all agree that President Erdogan is a very, very skilled and very highly intelligent politician. And he has managed in recent years to move like with relatively little leverage in his hand, to broaden the space and really change the balance of power between him and the, at least formally, much more powerful bloc of the EU or even Germany in his favor in many aspects. And I think that is due to a lack of coordinated and good European foreign policy. And you rightfully said so. One, or I think somebody mentioned it in the questions, one of the reasons is, of course, also that some member states, the Spanish, have decided that it's more important to make money with arming Turkey. The Greeks have, I think, problems with very high nationalist sentiments of their own, and the French are doing whatever, and there is a lack of coordination. By the way, the Böll Foundation is working on that. Take a look at our new dossier with like articles from, for example, Cinema. But okay, enough of the. But moving to the question. So, as I said, what should replace the current engagement is not be less engagement; it's more engagement. And of course, as you can see, especially on the parts of the civil society, I'm very happy I've actually managed to smuggle this sentence that there should be more engagement into the coalition agreement, if you read it. So I think this will totally happen. But what we need, we cannot just concentrate on civil society. Governments have to talk to governments. And unfortunately, this personalization, yes, we are all against it. But I mean, this is an outcome of the Turkish presidential system. And Germany has very little leverage to change this. So what we need to do,
Kristian,
I'm coming to an end. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much.
Clear benchmarks in a positive direction and into a negative direction, and very clear messages what will happen if either or are met or not met.
Thank you very much. I needed to cut you short because we have two more exciting questions, but thank you very much for, first of all, underlining the common desire of the relationship should not continue as it is. And I also very much liked your final remark saying that the benchmarks should be defined, the following, the next steps should be clearly defined, and what will be the consequences if they are met and if they are not met. So we have two more questions. I will ask them simultaneously, because then we have a final poll, and I will also give you back the floor for your closing remarks before we close this down. But there are two very interesting questions on this. The first one is from Barçın Yinanç, and she's asking a question that we will all be very much interested in 2022. How do you think the EU strategic compass will factor in the Turkey-Germany-EU triangle, if this is going to be a process that will further alienate Turkey? And secondly, from Jennifer Et, and we have this, she is mainly referring to the poll we have shown in the beginning, the ECFR poll, saying that more than half of Germans seeing Turkey as a rival or adversary. So this is a very alarming situation, not just in Germany, but also other countries like Austria or France. And what should be done to inform and engage with the German and European publics regarding Turkey? Nilgün, the floor is yours.
I think I would answer to the first question of Barçın. Actually, strategic compass is expected to play a crucial role in the triangle between EU, Turkey, and Germany. But I don't think, given the situation in Turkey, especially given the lack of mutual trust between the parties, at the moment, Turkey is considered an important factor in forming this strategic compass and in making it work. Anyway, if you look at the positive agenda, if you look at the high-level dialogue topics, there is no high-level dialogue in foreign policy and defense between the parties. If strategic compass should play a role in this trilateral relationship, at least just to check what Turkey thinks, what Turkey can do, and what Turkey can do after 2023, a high-level dialogue should be included in defense policy between the parties. And also there would be more, I don't only criticize Germany for that, I criticize especially the opposition parties in Turkey, because we can hardly see that the opposition parties in Turkey have something different to say in foreign policy. The opposition parties in Turkey also should be vocal about what they think about a change in Turkey's foreign policy and defense policy, even if they win the elections. And also they should be vocal more and more about what they think about the strategic compass. I don't think currently, I will come back. The parties giving the rapprochement between Turkey and Russia, I don't think strategic compass could play a significant role in this trilateral relationship.
Thank you very much. Kristian?
Yeah, maybe then I pick up on the question of Jennifer. I mean, let's face it, the problem is in Germany. I mean, we have many problems of our own, as we all know. And the discussion in Germany about Turkey is, I would say, 80% not really about what's happening in Turkey on the ground. Mm. It's mostly a debate about integration and the Turkish minority in Germany. Under this heading, of course, you have a whole conglomerate of like just very reasonable ideas, but you also have a lot of racist sentiment, for example, and it's very, very hard to change that as such. Unfortunately, this is not. I mean, I think like civil society organizations like ours, or like the political foundations, you have like the Mercator Foundation. There are all a lot of the German-Turkish Youth Bridge. There are a lot of organizations already working on this. I think it makes sense to increase these people-to-people contacts, especially with youth exchanges. Also something that we smuggled into the coalition agreement. But we all know there are certain limits due to like Germany's restrictive visa policy, but also due to things that the Turkish government does. No? For example, I was just taking part in a meeting, when was that, 2 weeks ago, with the mayor of Şişli and a delegation with the mayor of Charlottenburg, a part of Berlin. And they were supposed to have a big conference on city partnerships, German-Turkish city partnerships. But the Turkish government just cut it in the last minute because they just didn't want like oppositional belediers to be in it. And so it's very, very hard to deal with a partner like that. But anyway, I still think this should be continued. But I think we should not expect a major change soon because, like, I mean, we have had decades of really bad or no integration policies in Germany. And we are partly reaping the non-benefits of that currently. And we also know that we have a rise in right-wing sentiment over the years. So there are a lot of things to be done that not directly are connected to Turkey, but more connected to German domestic politics. And I hope something will be done, will change a bit now. I'm relatively hopeful with the new German interior minister, who has made that part of her priority, and also with the German Ministry for Youth and Family, who I hope will also prioritize, especially combating right-wing sentiment, right-wing violence more.
Thank you very much, Kristian. Before we move to the closing remarks, I think we have one more poll to run. So if colleagues from ECFR put on our screens once again the motion, Germany should ditch constructive dialogue with Turkey and Germany should not ditch constructive dialogue with Turkey on the screen, so we can see how the arguments that we have been presenting here today affected the public in the virtual room. Yes, now we have that. Germany-Turkey relations. Should we ditch constructive dialogue? Agree, disagree? I don't know. Let's see what our participants think after hearing all the arguments. Even from time to time, we rather approached to each other's position than debate them heatedly. So we will show you the poll results, but then before that, I would love to give back you the floor, for example, for 3 minutes each for your closing remarks. And can I again move the floor to you, Nilgün? Is that okay? Thank you.
Of course. My final remarks that I'm kind of hopeful about the future of the Turkey-German relations. The only problem, as Kristian also mentioned, that the leaders of Greens and Free Democrats, they don't have enough knowledge about Turkey. But the head of the government, Olaf Scholz, has vast knowledge about Turkey, and also in Green Party and in Free Democrats, there are very knowledgeable people about Turkey. And also, as I went through the coalition protocol as much as I could, the Social Democrats regarded Turkey as a neighbor and a NATO partner. I mean, this is what we can expect at this moment. As I mentioned before, Greens accept the membership of Turkey. They are not categorically against membership of Turkey based on cultural and identity differences, but of course they expect Turkey to fulfill the membership conditions. Free Democrats is a different case, but Free Democrats wish to put an end to accession negotiations. I would like to say, although we now have a virtual accession process, suspending or totally putting an end to the accession process is very dangerous, because you can suspend it, you can put an end to it by qualified majority voting in the council, but reinitiating it necessitates unanimity. If things change in Turkey, we surely hope so, and we would contribute as citizens of Turkey to that. If things change in Turkey, that would be very difficult to reinitiate the accession process, given the very political attitude of some member states politicians to Turkey. That's all I wanted to say at the moment.
Thank you very much. Actually, you poked me with this last statement. I will abuse my role as moderator for 1 minute, because I think in 2022, this is one of the discussions we have, because even if there's a government change in Turkey, or this current government decides somehow to have a more collaborative approach with the European Union, the enlargement policy of the European Union is not necessarily offering a well-functioning path for Turkey at this very moment and for the years to come. So maybe we should also open this discussion to have how to maybe parallelly create a well-functioning institutional framework for Turkey relations. I will stop there, but this is kind of teaser for further activities in 2022. And after abusing my role as the moderator, Kristian, I will give you the floor. Thank you.
Thank you. I think before you go to the poll, I want you to define in your head what we mean when we speak of strategic dialogue. Because when I speak about strategic dialogue, I mean continuing like this very soft, we are very concerned, no actions course that we've seen in recent years. This is what I'm against. And I think even Nilgün is against that. So I think we could actually scrap like the second answer and just agree that we don't want a continuation of that. This is not about like ditching, and that's the last time that I use this word, ditching a German-Turkish engagement, a European-Turkish engagement. Turkey is and will remain important, but the current course Turkey is taking is dangerous and is not serving EU interests, German interests, and not even the interests of the wider Turkish public. That having said, I have to say one thing to Nilgün in regards like to the Greens, and I have to say that not only as a Green, but I think also as an analyst. You said yes, there are some people in Germany, in German politics, who don't know Turkey that well. I said it, yes. Annalena and Anna have not worked on Turkey, but I mean, of course, every ministry has good advisors. There are plenty of people around, including also us from the foundation, who know the country. And I want to emphasize that I think Greens, not the Social Democrats, have been the ones pushing strongest, for example, for opening the accession process for Turkey. I think if you go to like any Turkish street with, I don't know, Sarı Mikro and interview and ask what are the like 3 German politicians you can name. I think people, it will be Merkel, it will be Cem Özdemir, and it will be Claudia Roth. And the latter 2, unfortunately, don't work on Turkey now, don't work on foreign policy. But I think the reason is these people, we know that they are partly hated in Turkey by some people, but the reason for that is because they have been involved in German-Turkish relationships for like 20, 30 years and really put a lot of effort into it. But of course now, I mean, they have become very critical of the developments. And of course, the government, Erdogan, who used to go to football games together with Claudia Roth, now likes to vilify her. But that is especially, or exactly, because they actually care about what's happening with Turkey. It's not just something to show the voters. No. That's just a point I wanted to make. Yeah, thank you.
I agree.
Thank you very much. It's a great debate when you end up the final statements with agreements between the debaters. And one final remark on what Kristian said, where he is very right, because when we look at the positions in the European Parliament, for example, the Green group, the European Greens in the European Parliament has been strongly advocating to restart or reinitiate the accession negotiations, or at least not ditching it. So I can use the word ditch once again before the panel also ends. So they were strongly against against their colleagues in the European Parliament that are willing to finalize the process. So here we have the poll results, kind of similar to the ones, but I think the ones increased thanks to Kristian's very important remarks. 26% agreeing, 74% disagreeing. So it looks like we have a public also in favor of continuing dialogue with Turkey, not necessarily as it's in current form. I think we all agree here, both the panelists and as the moderator myself, but looks like Turkey is such an important partner to give up also in the new year and under the new German government. So I would like to thank Nilgün Eralp, Director at the Center for EU Studies of the Economic Policy Research Foundation of Turkey. It was great to have you with us, Nilgün, in this debate.
Thank you.
I would like to thank you, Kristian Brakel, Director of Heinrich Böll Foundation, Istanbul. It was also equally great to hear your arguments on how to make things better, more democratic, more rightful, and more in line with rule of law. Thank you very much for sharing your opinions with us. My thanking does not necessarily end there, because I would like to thank colleagues who are today behind the scenes but made this clearly possible from European Council on Foreign Relations, principally Rafael Loos and Jana Puglirin. Thank you very much. And last but not least, I would also like to thank Stiftung Mercator, not only for supporting Europe debates series of ECFR, but also co-financing Center for Applied Turkish Studies in SWP Berlin. After this many thanking to various people, I will end my words also wishing you all happy holidays, because for me at least, this is more or less the last final public event. So wishing you all happy holidays and a great new year. And I'm sure in 2022, we will continue about the economic situation in Turkey, its foreign policy, its relations with its Western partners, and where the country stands when it comes to the French presidency of the Council of the EU, strategic compass, NATO's strategic concept, etc., etc., etc. Turkey is a case study for many interesting research. So thank you very much for listening to us in this event organized by the ECFR in collaboration with CATS SWP Berlin. Thank you very much.
Bye.